All right, guys, the Utah Jazz lose a tough one to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll look at what was good and what was bad. This is the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, that was not a good night for the Utah Jazz in terms of shooting the ball. I felt like there were some things that you could look at as positives for the Jazz, but overall, there was really one story for the Utah Jazz in this game. But let's first talk about the Dallas Mavericks. When you talk about the Dallas Mavericks, you need to talk about Luka Doncic. And he was really awesome tonight on the possessions. He wasn't being guarded by Rudy Gobert. Tonight, Luka Doncic was 11 for 26, so 42% from the field, 6 for 11 from three, 3 for 3 from the free throw line. He had 31 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. That's a monster line. The one thing I would say is that 11 for 26 from the field comes from when he was being guarded by Rudy. When he was being guarded by other players, he was like the dominant Luka that you're used to, where he is just like getting to the lane. He has really nice size that he uses incredibly well. Like, one of the things that's so nice about Luka is that he's able to create space with his big body. He's like 6'8" or whatever he is. Dallas Mavericks fans, let me know how tall he is or whatever. I mean, he's big, 6'8", 6'9", I don't know what he is, but he's big, and he's able to see over the defender. I mean, he is really that prototypical guy you want leading your offense, where he's big, incredible passer, and can create his own shot from multiple spots. We all know that he's got that step back three, but the shot that makes him so lethal is that playoff shot he has, where he goes to the rim and he uses his big body and size, where he creates just enough space so he can get that little like 10-foot shot that he makes, whether it's a floater or a little kind of side step or step back or whatever, and he goes off glass really well. I mean, he just really knows how to use his body, and he's got good quickness too. Like, he just is incredibly crafty. In a lot of ways, he's like a more athletic Joe Ingles in some ways. He's not the shooter Joe Ingles is, but when he's got that shot falling, he's fantastic. And he showed it tonight. When Rudy Gobert was not guarding him, he was fantastic. And, for the Mavericks, really was the difference for them on offense. The Mavericks also just had a nice night shooting the ball. Tonight they shot the three-point shot 46% from three. I mean, that's just really solid. That's just a plus night from the three-point line for them. Dorian Finney-Smith shot 5 for 12 from three. That's really good. I don't know what his numbers are typically. I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing it. Thanks a lot, NBA stats. I'm trying to find this. He shoots 36% from three. He shoots 41% from three tonight, and that's just an example of someone having a really nice night shooting the three. Josh Richardson, 5 for 5 from three tonight. I'm guessing he doesn't shoot 100% from three for the season. Sometimes that just happens. The opposing team's going to shoot the ball really well, and the Mavericks did. They just did. And some of that, you've got to give it to Luka. Like, as much as like Rudy Gobert did a solid job on Luka tonight, and actually I might put out a video and just show every single possession that Luka took that he was being guarded by Gobert, because you'll understand what I'm saying. I might even just leave a link here in the video. We'll see. But when he was not being guarded by Rudy, he was setting people up. People were getting open shots, and the Jazz bench just sucked tonight. And the Dallas Mavericks bench unit just was great. Jalen Brunson is just a really nice player. Brunson honestly could be a starter, and people will say, well, you can't really start him with Luka because you want the ball in Luka's hands. You know what? I'm not a Mavericks fan, so I don't watch every single Mavericks game. But when I do watch them, Jalen Brunson is just always a legit stud for them. Jalen Brunson tonight was 8 for 15 from the field, 4 for 7 from three, 57%. He had 4 rebounds and 3 assists, and he had 20 points and a +8. He's just a really nice find for them, and he's one of those guys that, like, they got in I can't remember what pick it was, but it was mid to late first round for him. And when you hit on a guy like that, it just helps out so much. He can hit shots. I actually think, like, at times, in the playoffs, you would like to see Jalen Brunson playing next to Luka Doncic, because when you're playing against teams that are putting their best defender on your main guy, I mean, the Jazz have kind of seen this with Donovan Mitchell. It's nice to have those secondary ball handlers that can create their own shots. So when you're in the playoffs and you've got like Kawhi on you, or someone's got a really nice defender on Luka, whatever it is. Like, for example, the Jazz might honestly put, and they've done it in the past, might put Rudy Gobert on Luka, and if Luka can pass out to like a Jalen Brunson or someone like that who can go and create their own, it's really nice, and it doesn't put so much so much of a load on Luka's shoulders. So this is a nice offensive team in the Dallas Mavericks, and they showed it tonight that they can hit shots and they can have really hot shooting nights and can beat you. So that's all I got to say. Andrew Streeter, $4.99. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. That's really kind of you, Andrew. If you were going to have a comment, I was going to answer it. But all I'll say is that you look like a really impressive man with impressive style, and I wish nothing but the best for you. And honestly, you'll probably gain many, much karma from that comment. So thank you, or from that donation. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. There's not a lot else I can say about the Dallas Mavericks. They're just like it's Luka Doncic and shooters, and that's how it goes. They did have some bad nights from a few guys. Nico Melli was 0 for 7 from the field and 0 for 5 from 3. Maxi Kleber, who's a nice shooter, 0 for 2 from 3 tonight. So maybe Utah was trying to keep the ball out of his hands. If I had the time to rewatch this game, I'd probably pay attention to that. But Luka Doncic had just a monster night. Now, talking about the Jazz, let's just talk about the shooting numbers for Utah. Tonight, Royce O'Neal was 0 for 8 from 3. And I started this game late. By the way, guys, your boy is vaccinated. Johnson & Johnson, I got it today. Right there. Go get vaccinated, guys. Go do it. Go do it. Let's all get vaccinated. It's not hard at all. And I got the Johnson & Johnson, and I'm done. But I was late for the game. I had a Johnson & Johnson at 5:30 Mountain Time. This game started at 5 Mountain Time. And that's why I'm late to start the show tonight anyways. But anyways, what I was going to say is the Jazz could not hit a shot. And one of the people that I noticed that was really struggling, and maybe not enough people are talking about it, but Royce O'Neal was 0 for 8 from 3. He could not hit a 3 tonight. 0 for 8. He did have 7 rebounds and 2 assists, but man, that is like if Royce O'Neal hits 2 or 3 of those, it's a different game. And normally Royce O'Neal does hit that many. I mean, Royce O'Neal is a 40+% three-point shooter this season. We'll just look, but Royce O'Neal for the season shoots from 3, 38%. So he's a solid three-point shooter. After tonight, that dropped below 40, I'm sure. That's because the nice thing about NBA.com is it's up to date. That's one of the best places to go get your stats, by the way, guys, is NBA.com. But 0 for 8 from 3 for Royce O'Neal. Bojan Bogdanovic only took 3 threes. He was 1 for 3. Donovan Mitchell, 0 for 8 from 3. We know that Donovan Mitchell this season is a 40% three-point shooter. After tonight, probably not. We'll see. Mike Conley was the one player on the Jazz that had a really nice offensive night. Although you could argue Rudy Gobert had an awesome offensive night. Rudy Gobert was 6 for 6 from the field, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had 14 points. Rudy Gobert was a beast. And he was like, the thing about Rudy Gobert, and we've talked about this before, the thing that makes Rudy so impressive is that he keeps you in these games. Even in a game like tonight where Royce O'Neal, 0 for 8 from 3, Donovan Mitchell, 0 for 8 from 3, the Jazz were still in this game somewhat. They had a nice night from Mike Conley and no one else. You look at the stats from this game. It was bad. It was really bad. Let's see. And just going through the line, Jordan Clarkson took 9 threes. He made 2 of them. George Niang actually had a decent night, 2 for 4 from 3. George Niang, by the way, quietly having a really nice season. You don't hear any more George Niang slander. And honestly, I had talked about this for a long time on this channel and online and all this stuff. All the slander that George Niang got was ridiculous. George Niang's in a spot where he's set up to succeed now. He's not being asked too much, not too little. 2 for 4 from 3. George Niang in a game the Jazz lost by almost 10 points was a +6. Let's see. Never mind. That's his points. He had 6 points. That's actually interesting. All right. Plus minus. The Jazz bench, -17 Joe Ingles, -11 Derek Favors, -10 George Niang, -14 Jordan Clarkson. Honestly, that might have been Jordan Clarkson. You look at the turnovers for the bench, 3 for Joe Ingles, 2 for Jordan Clarkson, one for George Niang. The Jazz bench lost this tonight because if you look at the Jazz starters, Royce O'Neal was 0 for 8 and was a +4. That's an interesting stat tonight. In the game the Jazz lost by 9, this game was lost by the bench. Really what you can say is it was just bad shooting. You know what? Sometimes you look at something like that and you just think, wow, if Miaoni plays a little bit more, does it change the game? Neville, good, $2. Thank you, Neville. I appreciate it. That's amazing. Thank you, Neville. That is fantastic. Yeah, so you look at that, it's really a couple things. If you want to look at the reason the Jazz lost this game, it's because they couldn't shoot the ball. 0 for 16 between Royce O'Neal and Donovan Mitchell is not going to happen very often. You had a lot of rebounds going to the Dallas Mavericks, offensive rebounds. Let's see. Offensive rebounds. The Mavericks had 10 offensive rebounds. Typically, you just don't see that from the Jazz allowing that many. It felt like there was just a lot of balls bouncing the wrong way. The Jazz as a team shot from three, 27%. That's just, Utah just doesn't shoot like that very often. So that's really, there's not a lot else to say about this game. You could argue that, like, Quinn could do some interesting things. I had one thought after this game was over. By the way, and I think I was going to mention this, but in the past, Neville, good, another $2. Sir, thank you. Thank you, Neville. I appreciate it. I was going to say one thing. Two things before we end the show. Rudy Gobert has guarded Luka Doncic in the past. There have been games in the past. I don't know if you remember that famous game last year where Rudy blocked Luka Doncic at the end of the game. The Jazz won a big-time game against the Mavericks. I was actually at that game. Rudy guarded Luka Doncic, like, was his man for most of the night. And Quinn has done that in the past, and it's worked. It's worked. Rudy Gobert can guard Luka Doncic because Luka is quick, but he's not so fast that he can blow by Rudy Gobert. And so Rudy can stay with him, and Rudy can stay on him on those step-back threes. It's not great news for Luka Doncic when Rudy Gobert guards him. And I'll go look at it. But I like everything I saw tonight. Rudy was pretty fantastic. And I'll go look at the field goal attempts. You guys, I'll send you the link. You've got to see that because, honestly, Rudy Gobert did a fantastic job when he was guarding Luka Doncic. Just straight up. But the other thing that I want to start talking about is tonight. Look at the numbers. Royce O'Neal plays 31 minutes. Bojan Bogdanovic played 34. Rudy Gobert played 34. Donovan played 34. And Mike Conley 31. At some point, the Utah Jazz need to start thinking about playing their starters about 36 minutes per game to start getting them ready for the playoffs. Because what I don't want to see is the Utah Jazz players being used to like 30 to 34 minutes and then going to the playoffs and be playing 36 to 40. At a certain point, Quinn's got to start playing their starters more. And in a game like tonight, if you play the starters 36 to 40 minutes on a night where the Jazz just weren't shooting the ball well, is this a Jazz win? Maybe, because you only had Mike Conley had the best game for the Jazz and played 31 minutes. He sat for a large portion of this game as a starter. In the playoffs, you can count on that not happening. And so at a certain point, I want to see those minutes start going up a little bit. Maybe it's too early now, but the Jazz need to start getting into different rotations that are ready for the playoffs. I want this Jazz team ready. And so pretty soon we've got to start looking, even in blowouts, you want to have them playing 36 minutes. You can't have players just used to playing 28 minutes a game. Because the Jazz have had so many blowout wins. And this is probably just credit to Quinn Snyder saying, you know what, losing to the Mavericks sucks. We still have the number one seed, and it's not worth playing Mike Conley more than 31 minutes because the Jazz are prepping for the playoffs. But at some point, the Jazz do need to get ready for the playoffs, and that means playing more minutes, just getting ready. I want to see the Utah Jazz playing their starters in the playoffs 40 minutes, straight up. Do you want to win basketball games? You need to play your best players that amount of time. And I know the Jazz have been doing interesting things this season where they have Rudy Gobert going against backup units, and that's one small thing the Jazz have been doing that's been kind of helping them get those second half minutes and kind of making up for some of the defensive deficiencies of Jordan Clarkson and things like that. But at a certain point, I want the Jazz to start prepping for the playoffs. Like in a game like tonight, there were a lot of minutes where Rudy Gobert wasn't even on the floor when Luka Doncic was. And that was really the game. That's why, sometimes when you look at the regular season, it's not the same thing as the playoffs. It's just not. And so when some loser like Kendrick Perkins online says that the Jazz are a lottery team on the road, which is ridiculous, by the way, that was the stupidest tweet of the night. Guess what? The Jazz aren't playing to like they're playing in the playoffs right now. They're playing regular season basketball. When they get into the playoffs, you can bet that Rudy Gobert will mirror Luka Doncic's minutes. 100%. Rudy Gobert is the X factor for so many of these things. He is the X factor for the Jazz. He's the reason the Jazz are going to go as far as they go. You know, Rudy Gobert keeps the Jazz in every single game. And in those games where like the Jazz have, you know, they have like 4 or 5 big time shooters. Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal, all their shooters. Basically every player outside of Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors that are playing on the floor that aren't shooters. As long as you have 3 or 4 of those guys have a big 3-point shooting night, Bojan Bogdanovic, when those guys have big 3-point shooting nights, this team is so hard to beat. And that's because of Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert keeps you in every single game, you know? And so against teams that don't have multiple defenders that can guard every single guy, you're going to see games from like Joe Ingles where he goes 7 for 10 from 3 one night and just has a monster night. Or you're going to have Donovan Mitchell have his crazy incredible nights. And if you combine 2 or 3 really great nights from some of those shooters for the Jazz, especially their primary guys, Donovan, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, and kind of their primary playmakers, Bojan Bogdanovic, you're going to see the Jazz win a lot of playoff games. I actually feel like after this loss tonight, I just don't feel bad about the loss. Like I would love to see Utah take on Dallas in the playoffs, not going to lie. Like I kind of, after tonight, I'm hoping for it. Because Utah can take Dallas. You can bet that. You can count on that. Utah can beat Dallas. That's for sure. I mean, you never know. Dallas might just go crazy and make every single shot they take. But we saw Utah before this one beat the Orlando Magic by 46. So, and the Orlando Magic, who went and were ahead of Dallas for much of that game last night. You know, not a lot else to say. The Jazz couldn't hit shots. The Dallas Mavericks could. Interesting loss for the Jazz where I think they kind of just didn't worry too much about this loss, honestly. I don't think Quinn's going to want to go look at the film and change some things. I think one of the things that you're not going to really see a lot of change is the amount of minutes because, you know, it's the regular season. But I do think Quinn needs to start thinking about playing a few minutes more. The Jazz probably win this game if their starters play more. If Rudy Gobert is on the floor for 38 minutes, which you're not going to see this season, you probably see the Jazz win this game because he can put Rudy on Doncic and switch Rudy onto Doncic the whole time. And so, I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much, Jazz fans. And Mavericks fans, you've got a superstar in Luka Doncic. He's fantastic. He is. Elijah Bard, welcome to Rookie Man. Thank you for joining the channel. Welcome to the Hoops Nerd channel. We got a rookie with upside in Elijah Bard. Thank you for joining the channel, Elijah. That's amazing. Guys, that's all I really got to say tonight. We have a Utah Jazz team that needs to start kind of adjusting for the playoffs soon. I'm excited to watch them go against the Suns. Maybe we'll see them play a few more minutes. I don't know. But I'm guessing Quinn wants to not lose 2 games in a row. Probably see the Jazz starters play a few more minutes than they did tonight. If you're new to the channel, why don't you just like and subscribe to this video? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you know when the videos go live. If you want to talk about the Jazz in the chat, make sure and join the channel. It's not that expensive. Just go join it. It's not too bad. And if you join Rookie, you can join the chat. You get all the, you get the chat. If you join Starter, you get those behind the scenes videos. And if you're All-Star, you get the shout out, which by the way, it's time to give a shout out to our All-Stars. Cody Strickland, the latest, Mitt Robach, DW to CB, Darren Williams, to Carlos Boozer, Jorge Arizaga, Gracias Amigo, Lee Christensen, Shan Therick, Ryan Perry, the legend, Justin Ty H, Patrick Akubo, Robert Hall, DW, Jazz going all the way, and David Lee, the first of them all. Guys, that's all I got to say. Oh, finally, Elijah, your first comment. Let's see. Would Oni have shot better than Royce? Maybe. By the way, Mie Oni is turning into a player that's getting hard to not play. I think it's interesting he didn't play tonight. But you know what? George Niang shot the ball well. George Niang was one of the few guys that was actually having a pretty decent night. So I don't know who else, you're looking at Oni take minutes from. Maybe it is Royce. I don't know. Royce just couldn't hit the shot tonight. And so maybe at some point Quinn does decide to play Mie Oni. I love Oni's energy, and I love that he brings rebounding and he brings a nice level of defense. let's see. DW to CB. To the credit of James' analysis, all starters had a positive plus-minus, so more starters might have worked. Good to develop the bench, but I would have liked to see Oni with some burn for Royce. Yeah. You know what? The thing is, and I can't remember who I saw. I think it was Andy Larson tweeted this. The other night when Georges Niang was getting targeted by the Chicago Bulls, Quinn pulled him and put Oni in. And we might see that more often. If there's a team kind of targeting a Jazz player, you can switch Oni onto the floor and have him be the defender. And there will be times where maybe Oni's even going to be overmatched, and that just happens when you're playing someone like, the Clippers and it's Kawhi. I mean, I don't know what else you're going to do, or LeBron James, but it's not a bad idea to kind of get someone in there like Oni who's super athletic and will give like 100,000,000% energy. I love Oni's energy, and he does rebound really nice. Like, he does a lot of nice things, deflections. Like, he's just one of those guys that goes out there and will cause chaos. And there's real like benefits to that. Sometimes it's a little out of control, but I don't mind having a guy that's on the floor just like going for interceptions. It's kind of that free safety idea in football. Just let a guy out there that can make plays, and read the defense and try to make something happen. Oni is super athletic, and it's fun to watch him go out and do a few things. It's fun. I wouldn't mind seeing him get some run tonight. But maybe Quinn's kind of locking in his rotation. I don't know. Usually we see Oni play when like Mike Conley gets his rest tonight, though. So Oni is obviously the first man, in when there's someone resting or hurt or whatever. So I don't know. I really love Mie Oni, and I just hope that he gets more minutes in the future. I want to see Mie Oni's 3-point shot consistency stay there. But you know what? Quinn is strict with some of these rotations, guys. So you never know. But anyways, like I said, like and subscribe, join the channel, hit the bell for notifications for when we go live, because guess what? We're a live channel, and it's fun to do. Anyways, guys, I will talk to you next time. Jazz win next game, I promise. Unless they don't.